Welcome back to episode 9 of the Molloy Twins Podcast, and this week we're joined with Eoghan Gorman. Eoghan, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me on.
How are you doing? Are you nervous?
Just a little bit.
I'm a little bit nervous as well. I'm afraid I'll say something I shouldn't have said. Make me look like an asshole. But first of all, thank you very much for coming in today. When did we reach out to Eoghan?
Back, October.
Yeah, like before we even released the first episode of the podcast. You were one of the first people we texted to see if you'd come in, and we tried to rope you in for the next week, and you were like, leave it until the end of November, early December, we'll see what happens. How come you decided to say yes in the end?
Yeah, well, look, so I got the shout out to a good friend of mine, is your cousin, and he said, look, the lads are looking to get you on and have a chat and go through the injury, I suppose, and see the way my life's changed. And so I just said, look, I think what my answer was to use was that try anything once. And I thought about doing kind of speaking and getting into maybe this kind of light side of things. So yeah, for myself, I was like thinking about maybe doing my own podcast in a few years. So
Nice.
yeah, it was look, try it once and see how it goes, and then go from there, I suppose.
That's it. Shout out Ben Gannon. Without you, this wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
Have you watched any episodes of the podcast?
No. I was planning on doing it, and then I said, might give me more nerves than I need.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right,
fair enough.
No.
Not
So
the biggest fan yet.
Who was on your Spotify Wrapped? Who was number?
Don't even have Spotify.
So we always start off by each guest leaves a question for the next guest to answer. Our last guest was Jake Mulroney. Adam's going to ask you Jake's question.
So Jake left a question, which is, how will you deal with setbacks?
Right, so obviously I've dealt with a lot of setbacks coming up to date, yeah. So for me, dealing with the biggest setback I'll probably ever face.
Yeah.
I was thrown into the deep end, and that's, I think, the best way to deal with anything. Sometimes it's a sink or swim mindset.
Yeah.
But how to deal with any general setbacks is, I suppose, just take them as they come, and just, it depends what the setback is. So that's like a shallow answer, but it really just does depend on what the setback is. Could be something small, like anything. You know? Like you could write your car off, or you could put a little scratch on it, and then deal about with them two things differently. So it is hard to say, and that's kind of the only answer I can give you.
No, that's fair.
Unless it's certain situations. You know?
Yeah. No, it's very fair. It's weird, even with setbacks, like you mentioned, the idea of a car being written off or a car getting scratched. So like, depending on the person, depending on the day, both of them could feel just as big of a setback. Yeah. So it is an interest, and I know it's very hard to generalise an answer like that.
Scratches,
This car is just a scratch on wheels.
I always say that. I do always say that. So a problem for me, a small problem for me could be a massive one for you.
Yeah,
and I do believe that. I genuinely do believe that, and that's it's a thing where, with the kind of I always say about someone that's struggling with something mentally.
Yeah,
could be a factor in my life. Could be nothing for you, something massive for me. You know, so.
No, definitely. It's all subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
So take us. Obviously, we're recording this. We'll also be up on Spotify, so anyone recording will be able to see that Eoghan is in a wheelchair. Anyone on Spotify, they won't have the luxury of being able to come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
So. And anyone who doesn't know you previously won't know that you weren't always in a wheelchair. Yeah. So we'll get into the specifics as we go through the podcast. We'll just give a quick overview of like the most quick summary of your life in the past 25 years.
The past 25 years, started off normally Lunflet from Green Park, Clondalkin, not too far from you two.
Yeah. Started
off, I lived there for 90% of my life. Just moved before this happened, this injury. I was living in Newcastle with my girlfriend Saoirse. Lived in Green Park up until then, so yeah, we're pretty much born and raised there. I went to school in Clondalkin, was into sport, had a spinal cord injury through to a broken neck. That's now left me in a wheelchair now since 21, the end of 21, October 21. So
okay,
in the wheelchair now 2 years, and that's kind of quick.
It's a good summary.
Yeah,
it's better than I would have came up with.
Yeah. 100%. I know, like, for me and Lee, when we were putting the podcast together, we were at the very beginning thinking, right, who do we want to have on this? And we always wanted to keep a couple of teams central. One was if they were local or kind of local, like within our area. That was something that we wanted. And also people who embody the message that we have in our book around personal development and growth. And obviously that's it's a big area, and it can be a bit of a minefield of an area as well nowadays, with so many people contributing different things to it. But someone who's able to show that when life throws you challenges and difficult moments and situations that you think you can't get past or you think you can't deal with, but somehow you find a way to get through and get out the other side, and not only move past it, but then use your experience for something positive to help the next person, to make their journey a little bit easier. Like, I think that's the central theme of everything we tried to share and what we want to put on the podcast. So for me and Lee, you were like literally, and I know like this might just sound like a cliche, but you were literally top of the list of people who we were like,
that's
we
the
want to get.
line you used to everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
My fave.
But when we were looking at people from around our area who we know have been through some of the worst things you could imagine, who could come on and share that, it's like your name was there because everything we know you've been through. So firstly, before we get into that, and before we start asking questions, like, just thank you for being strong enough to come on and share the message and being open and brave for willing to do it.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure.
Also, we don't make this known to everyone, but if you don't answer a question, you can't tell us to fuck off. You're not under any obligation to answer all our questions. And there probably will be shoe buttons.
It's not a guarded interrogation. Cool. So you mentioned growing up, you're obviously big into sports, and that was a big part of your life. What kind of sports were you playing as a kid?
Started off like every young fella, I think, in Green Park playing for Bilbao Celtic.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big one straight off.
The RFC. Love it as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was always, it was that and martial arts. I started then with the Taekwondo club in the Australia in my school, my primary school as well, called Clondalkin Taekwondo. So it was always, for me, initially it was Taekwondo and football. Yeah, and then I started, so at a very young age then as well, I got into motocross. So my cousin and my dad and a couple of the lads in the family were into motocross, and when I was born, my dad had a motocross bike ready to rock, and me and my cousin were sharing it, learning to drive around now. You know, just at kind of a fun level, do you know?
Yeah.
We just going out having a crack on the weekends and stuff. So it was kind of just active in general, you know.
Absolutely.
Any sort of sport I was into, really. What they would trade them out with.
Motorsport is a mad one.
Yeah.
I don't really hear of anyone. It doesn't seem as popular, but
yeah, well, it started off just kind of like driving around the field. You know,
yeah, I'm sure.
Driving around the circles then. And then when we were a little bit older, we started doing things like enduros and hairing houses and stuff like that.
Is motocross scramblers, or is it like
dirt
bikes?
scramblers, yeah. So
there's a few of them in Bon Oak, actually. Now you mention it. Maybe it is more popular.
Scrambler sounds a bit more like
it's less official if it's scrambler.
Yeah.
No, guard, that's not a scrambler. I'm a motocross racer.
Rob Joe country.
What was your favourite of the three? Football, taekwondo, motocross?
Wasn't football anyway.
No.
Brutal.
What position did you play for your brief stint?
Yeah, I was playing centre mid main.
Okay, yeah.
Because I could run. Couldn't kick the ball, but I could run. That was the main thing, yeah.
Should have been a referee.
Yeah, so I was never great at football, but you know, when every young fella in the area is playing, you
just jump in.
Because their mates are playing. You know, sort of way. Started off, and I don't know what age, you know. Do you remember? Did you just play for Bill Road?
Later on in life, towards the end of our careers, let's say.
When I started, we were playing at the community centre.
Yeah.
Down a little, where the skate park is now.
Yeah.
That's where all the kids used to play at that age, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, like, you know, when you're all, the whole, like, herding sheep running around after the ball.
Yeah.
The whole team's running after the ball.
There's no structure, nothing.
Everything's out running after the ball.
40 kids, one football, a few cones.
That's what I was like, yeah.
Chaos.
I started down there and I played right up until I was about 13.
Okay.
Remember, I left because my man that I kind of gave me the decision when I was going to secondary school. They were like, right, you can't be playing this much sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to kind of do a bit of skill as well.
Yeah.
So they were like, right, I think it's best that you pick one of them. So I went down with martial arts and left football there and then back in. So.
It's an interesting choice. Like, why do people choose to get punched in the face over just kicking the ball around?
It's a weird hobby. Yeah, back into the day now, so the taekwondo was the first martial arts I done.
Yeah.
And that was just kicking.
Just kicking.
So there's really only one punch that you can throw, and it's to the body.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's two types of taekwondo. I was doing the WTF. So WTF is like World Taekwondo Federation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that's in the Olympics.
Okay. Right, yeah.
and the other side is ITF. That's more so like more of a kickbox.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like kickboxing then. But you're wearing a suit, you know.
Yeah. So did it progress then from taekwondo into kickboxing?
Yeah. So we done taekwondo then from about the age of 5, right up to. I went to the kickboxing at about 14.
Okay.
So the club that I was in Clonaghan, they were very, very, like, a very good standard for Ireland. So a well-known club. When I was there, when I was a young fella, so I would say from about 5 till about 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were one of the better clubs in Ireland.
Yeah.
Then it kind of dropped off. The better group that were in the club, all the lads, the higher standard people started falling off. A lot of times that happens when you go in second school, into the college or whatever. Yeah. All that age group kind of just started falling off. So the club kind of simmered out. And I was at that age then when I was kind of getting fed up. It was like that. It was probably about 14, 15. Then I turned around and just said, look, I want to try do a bit of kickboxing. So I went down to a place called Bushido Martial Arts down beside Molloy.
In the village,
across from Subway, is that where it was?
Yeah, that's where it was. Yeah, it's not there anymore now, but
it's over the water side now, I think.
Over the water side, yeah. So, I went down there and that was like a whole new thing for me. It was like, I refound martial arts in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you can punch now as well. This is mental, you know? So I really, that's where I kind of, for me, like, it was a whole new love, you know, sort of way. But just, I really found myself down there. That's where I found myself in many ways down in that club.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like starting off, growing up and down there as well. Then I got a lot more competitive when I went down there as well. Yeah. Training a lot more, working a lot harder. Sometimes training twice a day, multiple times a week, rather than just say once for an hour, you know, kind of way.
Yeah.
So I really went up in a couple of levels there. And for me, the most important thing and the reason why I kind of got so competitive and kind of went up them levels was because there was a group, like a solid group of, say, we were all around that age and we were all working for the same goal and
pushing each other
and competing with each other in a healthy sort of competitive
environment. One of those.
That was great. Like that was a great spot for me. I loved it there. I really did. Yeah.
I heard you were good at it too. Ben always tells me stories of like, because he was in it for a while. I think he sparred you once or twice. And he was like, you just be standing there nowhere, like a foot would wrap around your neck.
I brought Ben down to debate.
It's tough though. I done one kickboxing class before, and
those be hard. Yeah,
it's like my hip. See the way they can get their legs up. Like you guys throw a head kick, and I don't think I got above the knee. I was like, I'll just take the calf kicks.
Takes a bit of flexibility training, all right. I got him down. I was saying like, because the love that I had for her, you want to let other people in on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So you go have this little secret. Come on.
Yeah, Adam's like that with the gym.
Try it out and understand.
Have a little secret. Come in this little room here.
You want people to feel what you feel, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you're so addicted to something and just so invested in it, you're like, get down here and try this out. Like, take a drug, and that's what some people do. Like, describe it as, and there's no better way to put it, really. You know?
Yeah.
Outside of sports and all that, what other things were you into growing up? Any other like social activities, let's say, with your mates that you were into or getting up to, or was it just full on like training?
Sports, bikes. That's it, really.
That was constant throughout your life. You were always interested in those. Yeah.
So I was always in some sort of martial arts gym, always on some sort of bike.
Really? Yeah.
So started off motocross, then I was into BMX and the mountain bike, and then I was always on something. Something with 2 wheels or kicking something.
It's a good way to be. I don't know, is it the same in Green Park? In Barnog we have a bit of like an epidemic. It's like you can't have a bike for more than 2 weeks without getting robbed. Was it the same over in Green Park?
They just vanish after a while. Yeah, they just disappear.
It's never off, so you can't rob
I got a bike and a ginger young fella.
Throw me over the shoulder. Look, there is a bit of that as well. You know, it's just a general, I think, Dublin area. You know, leave your bike on the side of the road and it won't be there for too long.
So I remember we used to have football goals and we'd literally put them in front of the window in the house. You could keep an eye on it, and somehow you'd wake up in the morning and it's gone. It's like this yoke would take at least 3 people to carry. So this wasn't just some random fella walking past. Like this was this was a tactical effort. Like there was a strategy behind. You have to kind of admire them in some ways, I suppose.
That's it on Dundee on Facebook.
Next time ever would have it.
Putting them in a car and for school in the morning.
Is that my goalpost?
So as you were going through school, Owen, obviously you were into fighting, you were into the motocross and stuff. Did you have an idea like what you wanted to move into after school? Was it to pursue like fighting professionally or was there another area you were going to?
I knew that I definitely didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
So I was a hands-on sort of person.
Right.
This sitting down on a book, reading, studying wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And as well, I know I need to be watched. So I need to be pushed, and I need like a tutor or a mentor or a coach. I can't do the thing. I go home, read that book, and study this in your meantime, and we test you in a month or whatever.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have worked. You know. So I went and when I left school, then I went and done an apprenticeship. Wasn't the ideal thing. Same when I was at home, my man and dad were kind of like, look, we want you to either go to college or do an apprenticeship.
Yeah, try it. Yeah.
We don't want you to go and work in the centre. Do you know what I'm
saying?
And I think it was the right thing to do with this. Now that I look back on it, at the time I was probably like, I don't know what I want to do about deciding time and whatever.
Well, centre's not that bad, man.
Yeah, exactly. But it's one of these things as well where you can take a year off and the year becomes
6 years.
Oh, yeah. You're 40 years old.
Like,
6 kids, 4 weeks.
You can still open up to a serious career. Like in some jobs you can kind of level up through the ranks.
Yeah.
But you know, they were just like, look, that's what we want to do, and it's
fair enough.
Anyway. Because I went and done the trade in cabinet making.
Okay.
So I've done 4 years of that, and I worked right up in that job until this accident. And
right.
Yeah, and it ended up suiting me as well.
Yeah.
Because the things that I kind of got on best in was really hands on. Anything hands on. I wasn't good at any other really subjects in school or anything like that. So it kind of worked well in itself, like, you know.
What kind of student were you in school? Would you have been a messer or a troublemaker, or just not really interested?
Really quiet, I just kind of kept my head down. I just wasn't really interested in messing around and like that. Just a bit of crack with the lads more than anything, you know. Yeah. Just get the work done, in and out of school, do what you can, get on with it, you know.
Yeah, get home, get to training, focus on the important stuff.
So about, I think, third year T-boy was really when that kind of like, it was like I was going to school, say going to after school study, sleeping after school study, so I went trying harder when I get out.
Yeah.
Did you want to be professional like in fighting? Was that the long
well,
goal?
that would have been ideal, you know. Sort of like that. Whether it was in reach, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
My own hardest critic as well.
Yeah, fair.
I don't like to blow my own trumpet.
Yeah.
Work my arse off and just let's see where things take it. Nice. Like kickboxing, I was always, I'd say, I done my most shine in kickboxing, but even nationally, but internationally, no. So I only compete internationally with kickboxing about three, 4 times.
Right.
Okay.
Where taekwondo, I've done a lot more.
Yeah.
I think I've done 5 or 6 G1 competitions. They're like ranking competitions.
Right.
It was never really working for me taekwondo. So really, what happened was I left the kickboxing after about 3 years. We trained a lot, fought a lot nationally, then done a little bit of internationally. Then what happened was again what happened to the taekwondo club.
The
very first taekwondo club, they got to a stage people were going to college, people were dropping out
moving
for
on,
different reasons, and you left and you find yourself being the only one left on the team.
Yeah.
So then I went back to taekwondo then with another club,
right,
South Dublin over in Tallaght. So I left that, went over there, and I was training with that club. Then what I really was trying to do was make the Irish team. The way you make the Irish team with taekwondo is you have to win. Well, it was when I was there. You had to win 2 rounds in a ranking competition.
Okay.
So your G1 competition, it's a ranking event. You have your scores, and they're all internationally.
Yeah.
So you go, and the more rounds you win, the more scores you get.
Yeah.
You go on to your ranking for world rankings or whatever. When you had to win 2 rounds, first and second round, to make the international Irish team. So I got to a stage where I was winning the first round, no better. Not whatever, but getting by the first round.
Blowing your own trumpet there.
Where's the humility gone now?
Getting through the first round anyway. And then the second round, meeting someone that was just levels above me.
Yeah.
So it was different opponents?
Oh, yeah, so you're going, so you have a different match. Like, so you might have 5 matches to win gold or 6 matches.
Right.
And 2 was to get on our national team. And I found that I was just getting through the first round, no problem. And even got to a stage where I was getting to like performing the best I'd ever performed, feeling great, getting into the second round, getting slaughtered.
Right. Yes, yeah.
Or you might meet a lad in the second round that fights for his national country and fights in like a Grand Prix, which is like their invitation competition.
Yeah.
They might be medaling in the Grand Prix and they're getting paid to fight.
Yeah.
They're just going, I'm doing an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. You know?
Showing up with splinters.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah. Dirty hands and everything. Yeah.
Snickers still on.
Snickers in the back and all, yeah. So it was kind of a frustration there, and then I ended up packing that in. And that's when I went on to the third martial arts and mixed martial arts MMA. Yeah.
Nice.
Which one of your hosts is coming up, yeah.
What have I guessed, Paddy? Yeah.
Top secret. But so you went up to Houlihan martial arts
now,
then?
yeah. Over to Houlihan martial arts, yeah. But initially, actually, I went over to Tallaght, SPC Tallaght.
Oh, yeah. On the Belgar
So that's on the Longmore Road, yeah. Went over there first. Tried that for a while. That was kind of while I was doing that, and then I was starting off the apprenticeship. So that was getting mixed up with going to college and stuff.
Yeah.
And it never really set in at the start. I was thinking, this isn't for me.
Mm.
The club as well wasn't really suited for me either.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was kind of, what I was doing at that time was I was doing a little bit of taekwondo, doing a little bit of MMA, kind of jumping between one and the other.
Yeah.
Then I said, right, back into taekwondo at that time. The MMA I was doing more so kickboxing classes in the MMA gym. And just the whole thing just wasn't working for me with that club.
Right.
So then I heard about Paddy Sheehan, went down there, and then really found that a lot more suited for me down there. Started training with them for a while then. Had a K1 fight with them. Then the COVID thing kind of was all kicking off in between all that.
Mm.
And then never actually got to fight MMA. We trained with him for maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
Broken. I think it might have been a year before. Then COVID a couple of months after. Yeah, about a year. I'd say I got about a year and a half, maybe 2 years actual training with him.
Right. And like most people, well, not most, that's probably a generalization. A lot of people who start MMA do it or started around the Conor McGregor sort of up and coming.
Yeah.
You seem to have started a bit later than that. But did you have any people in MMA or UFC that you were looking up to I want to be
but
like
Conor's the obvious, sort of way. But no, it wasn't really a thing that I was watching a lot of MMA and wanted to join it. But I don't know what really brought me to it. I definitely seen Conor, and I was I remember actually watching one of his very early on fights. He fought Eoghan Gorman, I think the lad's name was. Yeah. And he caught him with a back reverse tourniquet. That's what you call it in Taekwondo, or spinning hook kick, they call it.
Okay, right, yeah.
And kickboxing. And I remember I was watching the video down in me. So we have a kind of a sitting round kitchen in me family home. And I was sitting on the couch and I showed me ma, and I was like, this fella's gonna be dead.
Ma, stand up there.
So I was like, that's a hard kick to land, and if he's landing that in the UFC, it's the dog's dead. Yeah, I was telling her that, and then I remember then you just seeing him growing through the years. But that was one of his very, very early on fights.
Right.
And it was this lad is serious, because if you don't land a kick like that, if you're not good,
yeah.
It's just kind of, you see some things maybe just to have a little bit of experience there going, right, it's a fancy kick, but to be landing in the UFC is
against those opponents,
with it as well. It wasn't even you just grazed or not, and I was going, this lad's the real deal here.
Yeah, it's funny those times. I wasn't doing any martial arts or anything like that, but I'd watch Conor McGregor and be walking around the landing throwing elbows and I was a little barrel as well, trying to do big high kicks. And all. Look at this.
Till he was going at you.
So for you, I think it's important for us to have the background, because you were me and Lee would have trained a lot growing up playing football and stuff, but it seems like you were next level in terms of multiple sessions, double sessions, I'm sure some days, training for different sports, different martial arts. Yeah. So it was your life was just go. It sounds like there wasn't any sitting around watching Netflix or any of that, really.
Yeah, I didn't stop.
Active.
Stop, yeah, so for the kickboxing, it was really the reason I wanted to get, the reason I started training so much about doing 2 sessions would be so when I started off, I literally did not know how to punch.
Yeah.
I hadn't a clue. Yeah. And I found that I wanted to start competing as much as say that club is very active with competitions.
Yeah.
And you're getting your arse handed to you at the start, right? Then you're going in, so I had a black belt in Taekwondo, and you're thinking, oh, black belt, I'm grand, I can
Yeah,
fight
yeah.
anybody, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And then some people start punching you in the face and you're going, this is
What's this?
yeah,
Yeah.
what's the story with this, yeah. So what I started doing was, you kind of plan with the whole thing was that I wanted to get as fit as possible. So I was saying, right, if they might destroy me for the first round, when they get a little bit tired, I won't be tired.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what my initial goal was. And I started off just like with that mindset. So you get as fit as possible. So there was a fitness class before, a kickboxing class, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So I used to do them before the class.
Right.
So it was an extra hour. So instead of getting 3 hours, getting 6. And quickly then the cardio stood to me then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the sort of way. And
Yeah, you're outlasting people. Yeah.
like instead of then only winning the second and third round, you start winning the first.
Mhm.
And then the experience comes over time. But I always say though, like you can be as experienced as you want, but you get tired, then
Yeah.
you get tired.
Yeah. You can't fake it. Yeah.
And then like your experience just goes out the window because you're wrecked.
Yeah.
And you can't think straight, and you can't put all that experience to
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
good
sloppy
practice
and-
if you're wrecked. You know.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like once you're out of energy, that's it. It's a game over. Like, and
Big time.
someone else that's less experienced, once their cardio's good, then they have a lot more of an advantage on you.
Yeah. I think it was Sean O'Malley. He does a podcast with his coach, doesn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
But he was talking about, anyways, like his biggest fear as a fighter is never really the opponent. It's gassing out in the fight and then having to try figure out a way to not get knocked out.
Then what are you gonna do when you're barely able to stand because you're falling over your wreck?
Ah.
Can't do nothing.
Must be the worst place in the world to be. Locked in a cage, bollocks. Some fella coming to try and knock you
No
out.
way to run.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Just get down on the ground and tap there.
Tapping out and kickboxing,
Yeah.
the first person ever.
For you looking back on your, say, fighting career, your martial arts career altogether, is there a moment that stands out as like a highlight or a really proud moment you look back on?
I won a title in Bristol at the 69 division. So in kickboxing you've point fighting
Mm-hmm.
continuous, so light contact continuous,
Okay.
and then you've full contact, then you've K1. There's a few different ones, but
Yeah.
our club we were really point fighting and light contact, and I never really went well with me for the points fighting.
Right.
I found myself more so in the continuous, the light contact, and this division was a 69 kilo
Mm-hmm.
continuous division. We went to Bristol, the Bristol Open. Though it's a wacko event, so a decent level over there, and I had just turned 18 and I got the gold in the senior division. So it was only after starting the division and done well in that division, and made the proudest moment. The reason it was the proudest moment, I was first in the second, third and fourth, they're all English boys, so it's always that was one of the first decent results I got in kickboxing.
Kickboxing. Fair play, man. Congrats.
Yeah.
Find the Irish flag over.
Yeah, it's always a bit sweet.
Yeah, it is.
Home soil taking off them.
Yeah.
The boys are bitter.
Fair play. So look, that leads us up then to obviously the accident and what happened. Just talk us through firstly that day, I suppose, like what you were doing, what you were going out to do. Was it just a regular sort of normal thing?
So I didn't even say what the accident is really, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I went out. So really the reason I was kind of getting more heavily into mountain biking around that time was because it was really at the start of COVID. I couldn't do as much martial
Fighting,
arts,
yeah.
and the bikes in general weren't just on the weekend.
Yeah.
They could be during the weekend.
Yeah.
But without being at work and stuff, just going out and getting fresh air, getting out on the bike,
Mm-hmm.
just a really an outlet from just being stuck in the house.
Yeah.
So the accident was the 3rd of October 2021. I went out on the mountain bike as usual up to Ticknock to a place called The Gap. It's pretty much a bike park up there.
Okay.
And I went out with a friend, Sean, a lad I've known for years through school. I actually met him before I went to secondary school with him. So I knew a lad 6 or probably about 8 years. 2 of us been out on the mountain bikes many, many times together. We went out and just like a normal day. Went out on the bikes and pretty much about lunchtime that day, we were out and they had 3 new tracks up on they've up there. They have not hundreds, but a lot of tracks.
Yeah.
You know, and tracks within tracks and so on. Like, loads of different routes.
Little side quests.
Yeah. So loads of different routes you can take. And there was 3 new ones that they had made that day, and it was on one of them where I had the accident.
Okay.
So pretty much it was lunchtime that day. We were out. Something went wrong going down with the tracks. Oh yeah, came off one of the tracks. Pretty much the way I can best describe to you is they had kind of like down the side of the track there was like a valley.
Right.
And I went over a jump. Something happened. Don't know what. I was knocked out, and obviously I've no real recollection of what happened that day.
Yeah.
So I came off the bike, went down into the valley, and broke my neck. So I done a spinal cord injury. So yeah, that with regards to what exactly happened, I don't know because
upon impact,
Don't have the footage.
I don't have video replay. Yeah,
Need to go to VAR.
Yeah.
I'm not that good. Yeah.
Was there times before something similar had happened where you came off the bike and fell off? Was that regular enough to happen, or was it
but
rare?
you'd always do little bits.
Yeah.
Nothing major, like, you know, like nothing. I'd never broke bones or anything like that.
Right.
before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like of course you'd like little things and stuff. You know, you might hurt your ankle or your wrist or something.
Yeah.
Little stupid bits and bobs, but not to that extent, to this extreme, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you came off, I know obviously you were knocked out. From what we were chatting about before was your man who was with you then,
Sean
was that his name? Yeah, came over. He obviously seen you on the floor unconscious. Or
Yeah. So exactly what happened was normally when you're out together, you'd follow each other down the track.
yeah,
So a track might take you, say, could take you from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, anything to get down from the top to the very bottom.
Right.
And then you've to cycle all the way back to the top. It might take you half an hour.
Yeah.
You know, so normally you'd follow each other down, and I was down leading and Sean was behind me. Fairly close, a couple of meters behind me or whatever happened. And as I came off the track and crashed, he seen me come off. So I came off, went down into a little bit of a valley, and Sean immediately came off his bike, jumped down, ran down after me. And by the time he'd got to me, I was in a bad way already.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd taken a lot of impact to my face, in turn and breaking my neck.
Yeah.
And so when you break your neck and damage your spinal cord, if it's up to the level that I have damaged it, your breathing and your respiratory system is damaged straight away. So you're out of oxygen pretty much like immediately.
Right.
So when he got to me, I wasn't breathing, obviously. I was unconscious, and he had to really immediately start working on me to get some form of oxygen back into my body, like. And so he said initially when he turned me over, but I had that much blood in my face that he actually didn't know I was going purple.
Yeah.
So he didn't know that I wasn't breathing. He just thought that I was knocked out, like.
Mm-hmm.
So when he wiped off the blood, he realised that fuck, like, this lad, you know,
He's gone purple. Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to get something done here quick. So he got me out of the bike. I was fairly mangled up in the bike, still kind of wrapped around it.
Yeah.
Got me out of what was that sort of situation. Unwrapped me, then I'd figured out then that I was what I said there, not breathing. I'm not breathing by myself, so we had to first of all then trying to figure out how he was going to target it, kind of tackle that problem.
Yeah.
So he said really he didn't have any major experience with, obviously, other than the obvious, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're put into a situation where it's like here and now,
Yeah.
and it's unexpected, then it's a different ball game.
Big time.
So he started working on me and doing me chest compressions and trying to really keep me alive. Give me, what's the word for that? What's it called?
I'm not sure.
Gone blank.
Yeah, the
Chest compressions and the
CPR, is it?
CPR. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going through CPR, sorry, yeah. And the biggest problem was for him, though, as he's giving me the chest compressions, he's realising that I'm swallowing my tongue.
Right. Yeah.
So when I'm swallowing my tongue, it's blocking the airway, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
And he said he had to go through a system then of it's just making it up as he was going along. Using one hand to keep the tongue out of my throat and the other to
do the compressions.
Yeah, to keep me going.
Fuck.
And the biggest problem was that as he was doing this was going to lunchtime. A lot of people were down, gone, having their break down at the shop or whatever. And it was me and him stuck up there on the track for 20 odd minutes, he reckons, before somebody else passed by. And the position we were in was down, as I said, he's in that valley.
Yeah.
So the road was up above us. So it wasn't the best situation to be kind of see the area around to call somebody for help anyway.
Yeah.
So he was stuck really down there with me, putting me through that whole scenario as it was unfolding. And keep me on really until just waiting until someone passed. So he was there for he reckons about 20 minutes until a Polish lad, as far as I know, was passed by and he was able to flag him down, and your man came down and started to give him a bit of a hand, and as well he was able to go and alert other people and get them to come up and call the ambulance and stuff like that. So that lad then helped them, and they reckoned that there was about another 20-25 minutes then, about 45 minutes in total by the time an ambulance was able to make it to the scene then. And the paramedics were able to take over then, and it was really in a professional's hands then.
Yeah.
That's mental.
It's the goods of an hour with Sean and then the Polish fella just trying to do what they could do to keep you going till the ambulance got there.
Even if you do have the experience, you could be a paramedic for years, but if something's happened, unfolds there and then in front of your eyes, stage fright sort of job.
Big time, You can learn all the theory and all the skills, but when you're put in the environment then of emergency situation, like that's when it all kicks in and changes.
Fair play to Sean.
If
that was me.
I do owe my life in a lot of respects, Like I do personally believe there was any other man there on that day wouldn't be here today.
Oh man, if I was with you that day, no, I wouldn't have a clue what to do.
I said to him, and he said when we talked about it the first time, I said like, if this was the other way around, like, I have not got the faith in myself to say that I would have been able to do that for you. I nearly guaranteed I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know, because it's as I said to you there, it's just like it's kind of a fight or flight sort of job.
Yeah, big time.
Like, just hats off to him. Like, and you can't be more grateful than about anything. But like, you can't critique him in any way. He kept me alive, and I'm here now today. Fucking he wasn't speaking at all.
Tell a tale,
better or worse.
Exactly. And like the situation's bad, but it could have been a whole lot worse. You know. Like the damage was done, and all he had to do was kind of play his part as well as he could, like to keep me.
Yeah. That something that stuck with me, because obviously anyone who's listening might know this, but we met up last week to kind of just get to know each other a bit better and chat through. And you were saying that like you're so afraid of death that like you're just grateful to be alive, which was like such an eye opener for me. Because like some people might look at you and what you've been through and your situation and be like, oh my god, how could you
go on,
be positive about things and keep going? And then you're just, was that kind of fear of death always there, or is it just kind of going through what you've gone through you're kind of more grateful for?
Yeah, no, I think it's been always there. Don't know why, but it's my concept for me is to, like, you're only here for this short amount of time, and people take that for granted, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know, people are just alive and just thinking it's grand. Wake up in the morning, that's it.
Yeah.
Do you know, as if it's not a gift, like, do you know?
Yeah.
So no, it's definitely always been there. I think it's a motivator though as well.
Yeah,
definitely. It's a big motivator for me anyway. Do you know, if there was no debt, there'd be what would the point?
There'd be no value to it.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you just stay in bed all the time?
So some people do on here.
That's true. Exactly. You know, what's the point in even? What's the point in worrying about anything if you're?
Yeah.
You know, if you have another endless amount of years.
True.
It's a very good point. Yeah, it's the fact that one day it will all end that gives it the value while you still have it.
There's a number, and that's just the way it is. And
absolutely.
Another mad thing about it is we don't know how many.
Yeah, you don't know when.
What the number is.
I always say, if you could like open a book or whatever, open an envelope and it would tell you the exact day and time you're gonna die, would you open it or would you just leave it?
Yeah, I'd leave that.
Get that away from me. I want to know one.
Charlie Munger has a quote where he says, all I want to know is where I'm gonna die, and I'll just make sure I never go there.
Yeah, I heard a thing about that, something similar. It was along the lines of that, like, would you rather know what you die over when you're gonna die?
Jesus. That's a tough one.
Something like that.
I don't know.
Neither. I want to.
Yeah. Surprised me.
Just be in denial.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 minutes before. Make a few phone calls.
Just get the last boys back in.
Get me suit right clean.
Yeah. So when the impact happened, obviously the lads managed to keep you going until the ambulance arrived. Paramedics took over. How long were you out for? Did you come back around that day, or were you in a coma?
So I was gone the minute, like, with impact, gone out cold.
Yeah.
And I woke up in a mart.
Right.
So after that I was in an induced coma for 2 days.
Right.
So yeah, that was surgery and all was done. Woke up, good morning. Yeah, surprise.
That'd be a mad way to
What the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
It must feel like, you know, when you have one of those dreams and you wake up like, was that real, or did that not happen? It's like waking up and you're like in these surroundings. And
yeah, I don't really remember the initial waking up. Of course, there was a lot going on, a lot of heavy drugs involved as well.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and not the good type.
That came later.
Yeah, so now I wasn't in my right mindset then.
Yeah.
Of course. So the whole, it takes probably a week or so to get around to even kind of realising what's actually going on.
Yeah. What was the surgery, by the way? Was it spinal surgery you had? Or?
Yeah, so I had, so I damaged the C3, so cervical, the
So
third
it's
one,
like high up on the neck somewhere. Yeah.
right at the very top, the third vertebrae down. So that's one I broke and dislocated. And so the surgery was that I got that fused, so it's sandwiched now between C2 and C4. So there's a metal rod on either side that has just joined all three of them together pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hold them solid, yeah. Aside from the spinal cord injury, was there any, like, arms, legs, any other broken
I dislocated this right shoulder.
shoulder?
Yeah. So in turn, that's left me, for anyone who doesn't know listening, that it's left me paralysed from the shoulders down.
Yeah.
So I have movement and function. Just function and sensation actually as well. Don't know if I described that to you. So the full name for my injury is C3, so cervical tree, complete spinal cord injury.
Complete, okay.
So cervical tree, that's your third one down.
Yeah.
So I'll try and run through that to you the best way.
Yeah, let's go. Anatomy lessons.
Let's
Let's do it.
We get the skeleton done.
Yeah.
So you have your cervical, which is the top section of your spinal cord.
Yeah.
It's 1 to 8.
Okay.
That's it. So there's 3 vertebrae that are included. And what's the third, as I said, yes? So how do you try and break it down for you? The higher, so you have 33 vertebrae.
Altogether, yeah.
Number 1 is the worst, 33 is the best.
Okay.
Injury wise.
Right? Yeah. Less damage the lower you go down.
The lower number, the worse it is.
Yeah.
So it's not only got to do with your the height or the whatever, the position of your injury. It's more about the damage that's done on the spinal cord.
Okay.
So that's broken down into a thing called Asia. So where mine's called complete. So complete is Asia A, which is the worst damage that you can do to the spinal cord as well.
Okay.
So complete means that, how do I describe this? It means that you have no motor function and no sensory below the level of injury.
Okay, so can't move and can't feel?
Can't move, can't feel. So no sensation and no motor function there. And if you have an incomplete injury, it can be broken down into so many different, it's so variable, that's the thing. It's like you could have pocket sensation, you could have full sensation, you could have motor on one side, you could have it on one arm and both legs, you could have there's so many different injuries that that it's so variable. That's the problem. It's like you could meet somebody, I can meet somebody tomorrow in the rehab and they could be C3 and you're going, the same injury, and you could have 2 total different injuries. Like you could meet somebody that could have done damage at C3 but it's very, very minor and they could walk walk with a limp. You know, it's just it's so variable. It's so hard to understand.
So the one you got was the worst that could be gone.
The worst level of damage at the C3 level.
Yeah.
So pretty much it's C3 complete, and as you just said, it's the worst level of injury that you can get at that level.
Yeah.
Into the deep end.
Yeah, literally, Done the fucking balls to the wall.
You don't do things in halves.
No two corners. So, some of the issues then, I suppose, like, I think I said it to you, and I always remember about the diaphragm. That's a big one.
Yeah.
There's loads of side effects to a spinal injury, a standard one. But when you're higher up, there's a lot of issues that come with the breathing side of things and the respiratory functions of your whole system that is affected by that area. So I told you as well the last time about the C3, 4 and 5, they keep your diaphragm alive. That's the saying with the spinal injury. And me being at C3 is the top level means that pretty much all my diaphragm is affected.
Yeah.
So I have about 60% of one side that's
still
working. And so I'm working at about a quarter capacity.
Yeah.
So that being said, right, so when I'm running sure what happened when I was woke up then.
Yeah, do.
In a few minutes, but when I was woke up, I was told you're going to be on a ventilator forever. So a ventilator is pretty much, like I said this the last time, it's like a microwave with a tube.
Yeah, microwave with a tube, that's exactly what you said.
That's stuck into the neck. And that does all the respiratory kind of, it pretty much does the
breathing for you.
Yeah, the breathing for you, controls your diaphragm in your lungs and gives you that support that you need. Because a lot of people with my level of injury will need that partially or
completely
a lot of the time
forever.
Permanently.
Right. So
that was told to me literally 2 or 3 days after the accident. They told me you're going to need that forever, and that's a kick in the teeth. Like,
I can only imagine.
You don't want that in your neck forever, and it leaves you open to so many complications.
Yeah, it's like even infections and stuff like that. Tube just like implanted into your neck.
Yeah,
basically,
it's like something you'd see underneath your sink.
Yeah,
It's like a plastic version.
Yeah, some plumber came in and just stuck the pipe.
It's literally a tube straight in there to your windpipe, like direct access into your windpipe, and that does all the suppose whatever muscles that aren't
Working,
or obviously disengaged, I suppose.
Yeah.
Are you still able to talk and stuff while you're on the ventilator?
Yeah. So it gives you that power to be able to speak.
Okay, without that you wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't have the strength, sort of
way.
Yeah. You wouldn't breathe, so you would be dead.
When you put it like that,
your worries.
Don't talk much when you're dead. So when that was, I'll tell you then. But so, my consultant woke me up about. So I was in the coma for 2 days.
Yeah.
Woke up off that, and then she maybe a couple of days after that, she came in to me. It was the first time meeting her, and she came in and literally said, "How's it going on? I'm your consultant." The conversation was about 30 seconds long. She came in and said, "I'm your consultant. Pretty much you've damaged your spinal cord, level 3, fairly badly damaged." She was like, "You're not going to move your arms again. You're not going to walk, and you're going to be on that ventilator forever. Nice to meet you. See you later." That was it.
Didn't even bring you out to dinner for us, man. Just straight in.
Jesus
Straight
Christ.
in.
Ah, man.
That's exactly what it was like. And it just sounds like, to me now, I'm looking at it going, I just say it rolls off my tongue like it's nothing. But when someone just comes in and tells you your future, like that, looks you in the eyes and says that it is. And like, hats off to her. She said it was as it was, So and there's kind of two sides, it's good and bad to that.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like I need it, but for me, it was, she came in and said it to me. I was in the room by myself in the bed.
Yeah.
It was early in the morning. It was, I'd say, before 9 o'clock in the morning. I was half asleep, but I was going, who are you?
Yeah.
Starters, sort of way. And yeah, that's heavy. That's news that you don't want to be told, ever.
Yeah.
I don't mind told in the situation.
First thing in the morning.
For me, I don't agree with the way she done it.
Yes.
Personally,
Yeah.
I think that she should have had anybody with me.
Yep.
Yeah, just for the support.
And I don't care how big. You could be this big macho man. You could be the strongest man in the world. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
What age were you when you were told that news?
I was
22?
23.
22, yeah.
25 now, so yeah. 2 years ago. And I don't agree with the way she done it. It had to be done. The news had to be broken eventually.
Yeah.
But in the right circumstances, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think that they were around that day anyway. But look, everybody works in different ways. And
True.
for me, I definitely am a person that would like to have the bandage ripped off.
Yeah.
At the same time, rip it off in the right circumstance.
Yeah.
She ripped it off and started poking it.
Exactly, yeah.
And left you there alone to do with it.
And all squeezed into the wound.
Rubbing salt over it. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah. Literally, that's exactly what it's like. And
Oh man.
yeah, she hit me with it. Yeah, it's clobbered me right in the mouth with it. That's a,
Did it sink in when she first said it, or was it one of those that was like,
nah, you're in denial.
yeah,
Yeah, straight out the back, you're in denial. Kind of going on. First of all, I'm going, who are you? You don't know me.
yeah.
That's alright. And it's kind of a bit of an ego to it as well, and you're naive.
Yeah,
You know, the kind of, you're naive, but you don't want to believe it either.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the sort of way?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Of course, you're just completely in denial.
Yeah.
And yeah, I suppose at the start of the injury, then there's a lot like of that in denial. And anybody that's in your family as well doesn't want to believe it either.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, of course, at the start, I was when I was woke up initially, even before I met her, like I was on the phone with the surgeon. I was saying, like, why can't I move? That's the question. Like, it's not, am I paralysed? You know, you don't even think about that.
So, yeah.
There's no logic, there's no reason. It's just, I can't move. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just simple, basic English. Like,
Even the sensation of that, like trying to move, but
Like, so in
your
your
body
brain,
not
you're still like, I
responding.
want to lift my arm.
that's
But
exactly
it's
what
just
like,
not
yeah.
lifting.
And it's not like now I know because I can't do it, I'm trying.
yeah.
Do you know, but obviously,
At the start, yeah.
But at the start, you're literally lying in the bed going, what the fuck? That's the only way to put it.
Even like scratch your nose.
Oh
or
man,
whatever.
fix yourself, yeah.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. They're lying there and there's people all over you going, I had 3 tubes in my neck at that time. So you have your the initial access point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's 3 tubes coming off that. Of a neck brace on. You're on the bed looking at the ceiling going, what is going on? Yeah, and that's why I was on the phone to. So the first person I rang when I woke up was Serge. And it's mad because I didn't know her number. I don't know how I found it.
Yeah.
They were like to me, do you want to ring her? What's her number? And I remember the only way I thought about it was so I used to, on my car, you know when you used to plug her phone in for Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Her number used to come up, not her name. And it was like, they were like, what's her number? I was like, fuck, what is her number? This is your missus, what's her number? Did I sort of way? And so I was thinking about going, I'm going to give you what I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's show me the number and I'll be able to, I'll know then, once I look at it, I'll know.
Right, yeah.
And I got a first try anyway.
No way.
Memory was always
Yeah.
So that's exactly it. Do you know what? That's another thing I'm absolutely blessed, is that I had no brain injury whatsoever.
Yep.
And it's only 3 minutes without oxygen to start to get a brain damage. So
Okay.
I owe that to Sean as well. But back to the number thing.
Yeah.
And I rang her there and then and I said to her, like, this was like, I don't know what I said. Something along the lines of, I love you, I'm alright, you know, sort of way.
Yeah.
And and that was obviously a bad phone call for Sarah to be getting.
Yeah.
A relief for her to be getting. That was the first time she look, he's awake, alive.
Yeah.
So that was literally whatever time during the day she hadn't heard from me. No one had heard from me.
Yeah.
So that was, I woke up and that was it. Like, give me that phone, I need to ring somebody. Tell her it was alright. It was like, I'll be home in a few hours.
Yeah, she said that you were saying to be back to work in 2 weeks and all.
Yeah. Genuinely, like, I actually had a fight booked, the K1 fight, booked for a couple of weeks after.
Right.
And it was like, when they were coming in to visit me for a week or two afterwards, I was like, just tell Paddy I'll be there in a while. That's how in denial you are. Yeah, because you can't, like, it doesn't register.
I
You know,
can only
like,
imagine.
it takes time to register, and even then, that's a very hard part of it as well. When you have to switch from that mindset of being like in denial and saying, I'm going to get over this, to being like, right, no, actually I'm going to get over this.
Yeah, just accepting.
Yeah, that's a big step in the right direction. In a bad direction, but it's one that you have to go on to, I suppose, make any progress, you know, kind of way.
Yeah.
Big time. How long would you say you were in that denial phase for, let's say?
It's hard to say. I think by the time I was getting into the rehab, I was working towards, like, getting a lot better at getting over it and starting to embrace it more and working with what I had, do you know?
Yeah.
So during that period, I didn't go over that, which is then about me getting off the ventilator.
Yeah, do.
Yeah, so I was on the ventilator for 3 months. So initially they said you're not getting off it. That's it. And I had a physio that came with me, a respiratory physio. So she was coming in. She was actually a general physio, but she done that with me as well. So they had this little a little device that they used to use, and they'd blow on it and they would check the pretty much the strength.
Like the strength of your breath.
Yes,
The
yeah.
strength of my breath. I think I was telling you it was the last time that an average, if I do it to either of you lads now, if whoever's fitter or whatever, I have a slightly stronger one.
Yeah, me.
All day long, get me on the machine.
I have a call today. Come back next week.
So usually be somewhere in the 3,000 to 4,000 range, right?
Yeah.
And I was blowing and I was getting like 20 to 40. Right? So like you just hold it there now and you blow from across the room, you get more than that.
Yeah.
This is like the wind is stronger than that. Like this is nothing. Like it's just like for a concentrated breath, it's absolutely nothing. Like.
Yeah.
And so they're looking at me like, and they're going. And I remember I think I started off at 20, and then I got up to like 40, and I was like celebrating. And they're like, "Yeah, mate, that's absolutely nothing." Like a toddler, I do more than that, you know.
Yeah.
Stronger farts tonight.
Yeah, and I'm thinking because they hadn't told me at that point that they should have been 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah, you didn't know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were doing that, say, every couple of days at the start, and because they're kind of hoping that you're going to try you. So you are in spinal shock at the start where you can that can play a factor where you know you might make some little bits of recovery, like whatever. And so pretty much I went from 20 to 40 and I was going over that for a few weeks. I think she'd done it for 2-3 weeks, and then I noticed that she was coming to do me physio but wasn't testing the breathing anymore.
Right.
And I noticed after like a week, and I said it to her like one day, like, what's the story with what's the story with not doing it? She was like, I'm going to do it once a week now instead of every day. I was like, all right, grand. And then we done that for like another week or two, and I was going. Then all of a sudden I noticed that she hadn't brought it for, say, a week or two.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, I called her out on that one day. I was like, what's the story? Like, and she's like, yeah, we just kind of, you're at that stage where like we're not seeing significant
improvements in it, yeah.
Improvements. So they're like, we're pretty much saying, without saying, we're going to just leave it.
Bin it, yeah.
So, yeah, and that was like a point then where I was kind of like, all right, it's a bit mad to be just leaving it. I was like, you're coming to me anyway. Do you know, that sort of way. And then I said it to her one day and I was like, look, you're coming here. I was like, just bring it to the voice switch. It takes 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, one blow. I think we done 3 as your strongest blows. That was it.
Yeah.
So I thought 30 seconds max. Yeah, I was like, bring it with you. We'll try it. Just please do that for me. And she was like, right, grand, I'll do it for you. And then over a couple of weeks then, that went from like 20, 40 to 60 to 80, and I got to 120. And I was below 120 one week, and I was like, when I got over the 100, I was like, right, this is like, I'm getting little bits of progress. Like,
Yeah.
Now I'm at 120, you should be at 3,000, right?
Yeah.
Like, miles away, yeah. But I didn't know until I got to it that 200 was the point where they start to consider you to get off the trachea for any given time.
Right.
So like initially then when I got to I think I got to 250, and she was like, right, well, this is good news. We might be able to get you off even for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Also, all day long you had that tube in your neck.
Yeah,
For
all
the
day.
ventilator.
Oh yeah. So this is like this is in you for
Yeah.
24/7. Yeah. And so she said, right, this is great news. Like you're after getting to 250 or whatever it was, and she's gonna go and talk to her boss then, and see if we can start getting off her.
Yeah.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was. And then she came back and she was like, right, well, our goal for you is, considering the level of injury, the severity of the injury, so I'm at the C3, what I was saying, C3, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So even someone at C4 might have difficulty getting off it. Like. So for C3 to be complete injury, they were like, look, our goal with you is, if we can get it that we can disconnect you to get you from your bed to your chair, it'll make it a lot easier because the tubes won't be in the way.
Yeah.
Be great. Do you know what I mean? We get you 5 or 10 minutes off it when you're getting in and out of the bed and all this, the likes of that, getting whatever, any sort of transfer.
Yeah.
Grant. And I was like, right, well, let's see how it goes, yeah. And from then I was like, that thing's not staying on my neck. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is not staying on my neck.
Yeah,
I didn't even bother saying it to her,
yeah.
because she's looking at you like you're a fucking lula.
Yeah.
So, pretty much, where was I going with that? Sorry.
How you were going to keep progressing then, I suppose. So she said it'd be good to get to a stage where you could walk from the bed to the chair.
Yeah,
But off
so
you're that.
Then so the way they started off is they give you a 5-minute period, take the machine off, and they put a cap on your neck. So
Okay.
it's literally a valve going straight in
yeah.
the throat. So they'll cap it then to blanket off.
Yep.
And they'll leave you for 5 minutes. You'll be monitored, like you'll have a finger probe on that tells you your oxygen percentage.
Yeah.
You need to stay up with the high 90s. And they'll do that for 5 minutes 3 times a day. So I do that for a couple of days. If you're doing well, they would turn that 5 minutes into 10. Then they go up in 5-minute periods.
Right.
So you go 5, 10, 15. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, jeez.
To get up, and you're starting going up to, so you 3 times a day. So it's 15 minutes a day, going up then half an hour a day, whatever. And you're working your way up in 5 minutes plus. Adding on all the way through. And I remember I got to one time that I really, really struggled. There was a lad, and I remember the nurse and everything. This fella Bill, right? He works in the rehab, 6'7", huge motherfucker, yeah. And he came in. He was coming from the rehab into the Mar to do a bit of training, and he was there with me. And I was on a 40-minute period. And I remember he came into me and he was like looking at me like, "You're all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm grand. I was far from grand, and I knew I was far from grand. I just didn't want to give in. I was like, I cannot.
Stubborn,
I was like, I'm not letting these now that I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Because then I was afraid that they were going
Back to square one, yeah.
Back to square one, or any back step. I didn't want any back step.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I was going 24 hours. That was it.
Yeah.
And I was only at 40 minutes, so I couldn't accept the fact that I had to kind of give in a little bit, you know? Even if it was only for just to give up for that day and start again tomorrow. I just didn't want that. I wanted to go foot to the floor, just drive on, you know, sort of way, like.
Go till the wheels fall off.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And so pretty much that happened, and he came to the room and he was like, "You're breathing out your arse," like. And I was, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't deny that I was. Like, it was literally my chest and I was going like 90. And so he forced me to stop then that day. He was like, "Look, you can't go on like that. You need to back on the ventilator." And I was dead disappointed. Like, I was pissed off.
Do you know how long you got up to? You were aiming for 40 minutes. Do you know how long?
I think it might have been the last 40 minutes a day.
Okay,
So
right,
I had
yeah.
done
2 rounds.
40 minutes, yeah. And it was the last one that I was struggling with. And probably the accumulation of the addition to the other ones, you know.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, you're at about 100 minutes a day then. Off it. 100 minutes. Yeah, 100 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he took me off and I was thinking, Jesus, this is it now. They're going to have to pack it in for me. And I might have to, like, just leave it at this 40 minutes. 40 minutes per day, that's nothing, you know. So anyway, we went on though, and luckily enough though, I was able to still progress then. And it gets to a stage of you've gone up and you're still adding on the 5 minutes every day. And then you might get to, say, when you get to your hour, then they start, say, adding on 10 minutes, and you start to make more leaps then.
Yeah.
Going on, and you eventually work all the way up to getting to your 25 hours. No, sorry, 24 hours a day.
You get an extra day.
Yeah.
Next hour.
That's a magical hour. In Dreamland. But I was living in Dreamland for most of that.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so you get to that, and once you work up to, sorry, you would have done your 12 hours first, right?
Okay.
So this is where it's really important, where you do it all day, really, all
your
waking
hours,
right? And then when you have to start working to during the night, that's when it starts to get to, it's kind of a bit of fate. So you're either good enough or you're not.
Yeah.
Really. And during the night, see, during the day, right, you can relax your breathing. You can, if you're struggling, you can just take a few deeper breaths and see how it goes, yeah? But during the night, you can't do that. So you just sleep, leave your finger probe on, and if it drops below 95, they pop you back on the
nurse come in,
yeah. And you haven't really got a choice.
Yeah.
So, which
must be scary, yeah.
Pretty much totally out of control, yeah. But if you know, right, if you're saying, right, well, I'm going to sleep for 3 hours off the ventilator, then I'll get a break then when I'll be the rest of the hours asleep but back on the ventilator. That's one thing. But when it gets to the stage and you go on and you have to do a 24-hour cycle and you're off it totally, that's just completely down to you're good enough or you're not. You make it or you don't.
Yeah.
So when I remember doing them first few nights, they were really like, going to sleep, going please.
Yeah.
Sort of way. And then the progress is on then. And then you have to, the final trial that you have to do is you've a 3-day trial and you have to do 24 hours, 3 days straight. And it's you have a finger probe on for every hour. And if it drops below 95, your test is gone.
Yeah.
That's it. You're not on it. You're not getting off the machine. That's it. Or at least you failed that trial anyway. And I remember that I was going, this fucking better. I'm like, I'm going to have to work my ass for weeks.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get off for a full month. So it was a month going all the way through that. And then when that, eventually I got to the last hour, they were like, right, well, you have to make it. And like, that's it. That's not going back in your next. And then they leave you then for maybe a week or two after that to make sure that you're going to be all right. That wasn't just a good 3 days.
Yeah.
And then eventually then when they get to the stage where they're like, right, well, look, they're looking at you going, we're on to take your neck. Like, they can't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, your physio is like looking at you going, holy shit, like, you actually done it.
Where's that nurse from the force day? Get her down here. Yeah. The consultant, sorry.
Another thing I didn't tell you was the physio was dealing with me wasn't the head like respiratory physio.
Right.
And she had actually told her the reason that I found out later, the reason that the physio had stopped coming to me and had stopped like putting in the
test thing.
Was because she was told to. They were told like, you're wasting your time like with this fella, like,
no way.
An absolute waste of time. There's no point. So when it came to that day with she was like to me, you know, we're gonna take it out of your neck, like you're done. But I was like, if I could give you all the finger, I would be standing up, running around the room, going, fuck you. Like, I knew it, and I just knew in my own head that I think I was just being stubborn because I hate the machine.
Yeah, stubborn.
I hate all about it
for the best.
It was a fear though as well. So I'm very like logical as well, and like when I woke up at the start of the injury, I was like, when they were explaining to me about the ventilator, I was like, I just said to them out straight, so if that turns off, I die.
Yeah.
And when they said to them like that, literally, that's exactly the way I said it. They were like, this is to help you breathe because you need it. I was like, so if that turns off, I die. They were looking at me like, they were like, no, we're here, like, we're outside. That won't happen. And I was like, well, let's just say it does happen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
So the door's locked, everyone's outside, and that turns off.
Everyone's off one day. They're like, yeah. You know, they spent about 10 minutes trying to avoid
the question. Yeah.
They were like, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah.
So that really was the thing, whereas that fear, how can you lie there? And it's not like, so if I put it in your neck today and I'm like, great, this is keeping you breathing, if something happens, you can run up, stand up, run down there and get help.
Yeah.
That's this machine turns off. And there was a beeper that went off.
Yeah.
I was like, in my head, I'm going, that doesn't beep for whatever reason. Or whatever. Someone's busy down here. Someone else down the hall is in the middle of an emergency. What are you going to do then?
Yep.
So that's where it was really, like, that was a driving factor for me. I'm looking at going, this machine ain't going to, like, be deciding whether I'm staying alive or not. That's what I was thinking. You know, so that was... and that was a paranoia factor as well, where you're looking at it going, this thing needs to go.
Yeah.
You know? So for me, that totally changed my life when I got off that. And it's like,
fair play.
People are probably looking at me going, you still can't move, but the level of independence that gave me, the difference, like, the difference in me now, and if I was still on that machine, is I'd have to have a 24/7 nurse live with me, just because of that machine.
Yep.
So makes a massive difference for my life. Like.
Fair play to you, man.
That is mental.
What a story.
So, like,
oh my God.
If not for you being such a stubborn motherfucker,
paranoid,
you would just be attached to that machine full time.
Yeah, and just not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
It was the only thing that I believe got me off that machine was that me not taking no for an answer and just being, as you said, just being a stubborn fucker. Yeah.
Jeez, I feel bad for Saoirse now. I can only imagine what sort of stubbornness she has to deal with.
Like, even that story of 5 minutes at a time. most people are like, fuck that, this is going nowhere. You know what? You're say 2 weeks in, you're like, I'm up to 20 minutes or like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. But like the fact you just stayed with it, kept going, kept showing up, eventually got there to a point now where it's like 2 years or something. I don't know how long since you've even had a ventilator on. Like unbelievable, man. Fair play.
I see other people with it and it breaks my heart looking at them, because I've said it to a lot of people that work in the rehab and stuff. I'm like, you think you looking at him or her and you're going, that looks bad. But I've been in that position. I've felt that thing in me through. And I've had to listen to that machine during the night. And it's not quiet.
Oh, I can imagine. yeah.
It's fucking horrible. If you don't get a good night's sleep listening to that. It's just, it's terrible.
Unreal.
I'm sure I showed you that voiceover, didn't I?
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah, and you can hear it in the background.
Yeah.
Like that going off, like a big compressor.
Yeah.
Exactly what it's like, yeah.
Unreal. Fair play. So, actually, do you remember the dates that you came off the ventilator?
No.
No, I don't remember. Should be
Actually, remember when we met for a coffee, you said the goal of the podcast was to try and make me cry.
Yeah.
Close to him. If that had went on a few minutes longer.
You should have added in a few little bits there,
Wait, I'm pulling more details.
yeah.
You go back.
Rewind, Dave.
So that's kind of the gist of that, and that was the biggest achievement of the whole injury. And like, for me, so during that whole process, the reason I think that I was able to put in that effort and that resilience with the whole thing and the drive was because obviously I wanted to get up and start walking and running around.
Yeah.
Of course, I still want to do it now.
Yeah.
But I was like, right, I knew that was a stretch. So I knew. So the reason I was really concentrated on it was I was like, right, we got a little window, a glimmer of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen that 250.
Yeah.
And it was like, right, you give me an inch. I don't want a mile. I want 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
1%. Yeah.
I want it all. You know.
Yeah.
I'll be able to sing, forget talk.
Yeah.
Sort of way, and that's so I didn't even mention that is that when I woke up, I practically couldn't talk.
Yeah.
So to get from that to being able to get the chance to being like, right now we can talk with no machine in my neck, and then even to whatever capacity, you know, sort of way.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I want to take this opportunity now, take full advantage of it, and just maximize the potential, like, you know. And I think the reason why I was really able to maximize it because it was like, let's say I give one of you a glimmer of hope or something.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go, like, you're doing this podcast now, you go home, you have to do something else, you make your dinner, you do this, you do that. I spend all day, every day thinking and working towards doing that. 24/7. That was it. That was the only thing I was thinking about.
We're all in,
I was thinking of shit about nothing else. At that stage, I wasn't even eating, doing nothing. I was like, this is what I want to do, and that's it. And I knew the difference that would make for me if I achieved the goal, and thank God I did. Like, so I'm going.
Fair play, man. Fair play. Nothing but admiration and respect for that. Yeah.
It was hard work paid off.
Fucking right, it did. Jesus.
To be able to just sit here though and speak, and I'm dead lucky to be able to, like, because imagine I can't imagine what it'd still be like to be on that thing.
Yeah.
It's different life altogether.
Oh God, yeah, jeez.
It's mad though, like, you take it for granted. Like, I've never even considered how I breathe or what it would be like to not be able to breathe it alone. And then for you, that became like
take it off for granted. I took everything for granted. Telling you now, it's. But of course you do. Do you know the sort of way? Why would you know? Why wouldn't you? Do you know the sort of way? What's the probability of something like this happening to someone? Like,
true.
So very, very, very small numbers.
Yeah.
Fucking right. And what was the support, friends, families around that time? Like, obviously you were grateful for it, but I'm sure your mind was in a whole different place altogether. Was it hard to kind of, I don't know, deal with everybody wanting to talk to you and check in and make sure you're all right and how's that and how's this? Yeah,
like, obviously the support, you know, something that I told Serge at the very start. I said we were sitting down like this and it was like everybody's there all around you, you know, kissing you, hugging you, all this stuff. And she was saying, like, you know, you have the whole world around you, like, we will have, but that's what it felt like with your family, everybody's there. Do you know, I said to her, like, they literally, it's a Kelly Harrington quote, I said to her, the last mile's never crowded.
Yeah.
A couple of days after the injury. And it was like maybe a week after or something. She probably looked at me going, geez, you know, don't be thinking like that.
Yeah.
I said to her, I'd start and stand by it now. Telling her, I was like, this is like, and it's great, like, and I have good support. But I said to her, like, there's people coming out of the woodwork from people that are, like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, everywhere. Like, you could have had an army with me. Do you know, sort of way? And I said to her, like, this is for now. This is only temporary. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna have a handful of people, and that's exactly what I have now. And I was like, can't say I know everything, but I knew that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I just knew that that's the way it is, and that's the way with everything, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
At the very start, the initial phase, that's when everyone's gonna be around, standing around you, and people just drop off. And it's not. I don't hold.
Of course,
and anybody, and like I'm
hold against them or not.
I don't hold it against anybody. But it's like people have their own lives to get on, man. I understand that, and I agree that you have to get on with your own life. And same as I have to get on with my own life now, and I can't be like, you know, you can have all these people around you and stuff, but they can't be there forever. Do you know?
Yeah.
And not even if they can't be, some they won't be. Do you know? Sort of That's what you have to kind of be. I don't know, just like be happy with a small circle. Once your circle's small, but it's good. That's all that really matters.
Yeah,
you know?
quality over quantity, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
That quote was unreal, isn't it? The last mile is never crowded.
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Did you know? No, Kelly Harrington said that. Yeah, she was talking about when she got into the final of the Olympics.
Yeah.
She was saying that the
work it takes to get there.
I think it was a situation where there was a full team going. Everybody started off and everybody had their first and second fights, and then all of a sudden she was the last one going to the arena, the last one there at the fights, the last Irish standing or whatever. And yeah. So I heard that, and that stuck with me. Yeah,
sick.
Love it, man. So as you were going through then obviously the rest of the rehab and getting to a point, the question actually a couple of people have asked me, and I'd rather you answer it than me try explain it, but when it comes to these spinal cord injuries and obviously losing motor function and so you can't move your from the shoulders down, is there any chance of that ever coming back naturally?
No. So not with my level of injury.
Yeah.
So if you had an incomplete injury, sorry, I think I skipped over that earlier. So your incomplete injury is like you might have some sensation or motor without the other, and there's so many different variations. So it literally depends on case to case basis. Like you're saying, there is a. Sorry, what you say to me again?
Is it possible for it to come back naturally?
Yeah. So it literally just depends on the case.
Yeah, right.
You might some people might have initial nerve shock, and they might have nothing at start.
Right.
And they might recover a lot.
Yeah.
You could have a lot, and you could recover a tiny bits by week, or it's so variable. It's just, it really just depends.
Yeah, fair. Because I'm trying to like going into your background, your past pre-injury, and like how active you are every day, more or less. And even if I try to put myself in that position of like being able to get up and be active and go to the gym and stuff like that, like those things are just massive crutches in your life that you hold on to. Like being able to come to terms with the fact that you, at least as far as you can see, will never be able to go back to that and then do it again. You almost have to like re-identify yourself in the whole world.
I was only saying Thursday we were talking about, like we were kind of talking about today about this. I was like, this is not, for me, this is not like a grieving thing. So I believe that you grieve when you've lost something from your life. I think I've lost my life. Like, this is a new life. Like, this is not the same thing.
Right,
This is a total new life. Like. So I've nothing the same. It's in like, as in I didn't sit still. I'm not messing with you. I've sat down more in the last 10 minutes sitting here.
Yeah.
Than I had ever.
About 20 odd years before.
Yeah. Like Sarah would be telling you, like, if you ask her, I'd be up walking around the kitchen.
Yeah.
I could not sit still. Like, she has an island in her house. I do laps of the island. Literally, I'm not messing with you. Like, I didn't do anything that wasn't active. My whole life was active, and to every respect, my job, hobbies, our relationship, everything was just constantly outdoors, constantly just doing physical things. You know, sort of like my job was completely physical. My lifestyle, just my hobbies, everything. It was all hands on, and then activity based. Yeah.
And then getting to a stage where that's gone. I love the way you've put that, man. Is like it. all you will get if you try to compare now to what happened previously is like disappointment and feeling like, oh, I'm missing out on these things or whatever. But it's like a case of almost drawing a line in the sand and being like, this is a new life altogether for me. This isn't a different version of what was before. This is a completely separate existence.
People ask me, do I grieve that like the old life?
Yeah.
And I don't think I do, because like I'm saying to you, it's gone. That's like, for me, grieving is like you lose a grandparent. Like, I'm going on today without them. I lost them yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
What's that? Like, you know, I'm doing this without them. How can I live without them?
Yeah.
All that, you know. Whereas for me, it's like, I'm not doing things that I didn't do before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Like, you know, it's just a whole new everything besides the obvious. Like, it's because I can't fill my time with what I used to do before.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'd sit down with sessions to watch Netflix before, we'd press it on. We'd spend half an hour, like you do, trying to find something to watch.
Stop.
30 seconds later, I'm asleep snoring.
Yeah.
I just didn't I wasn't into it. I didn't like doing anything that wasn't. I didn't like to relax.
Yeah.
I relax with sleep, and when I wake up,
It's go time.
Yeah.
it's straight off the bat. Like,
Yeah.
What do you like to do nowadays?
still finding out.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Do you have any new hobbies that you weren't into before but you're into now? Reading or listening to certain music or anything like
I've
that?
been forcing myself to read, so I'm not the best reader. I've never been good at reading, so I'm trying to improve on that. That's something I'm forcing myself into.
Nice.
Reading news articles and stuff. And hobbies. That's something I'm still trying to work on. Yeah, I actually do art, and I'm waiting to hear about this. Yeah,
I got it. I'm intrigued already.
Come on.
Yeah. Something that I learned is art therapy. I do it in the rehab.
Oh, okay.
I've heard of art therapy, yeah.
Yeah, so I paint with my mouth. I have a mouth.
You do, yeah, in the
Yeah.
paintbrush in the mouth, like?
Yeah.
No way.
So I started that. Don't know how long ago now.
Any masterpieces, yeah?
Get Molloy Twins portrait.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah.
Make me strong, bigger looking than him.
Do a smiley face. That'll do. It looks similar.
Yeah, true, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So I started that the art therapy in the rehab. They were like to me, like, I'm not messing with you in there. Anything they said to me, try this, it might help you. Grant, let's do it. Because like, what have we got to lose at this stage?
Yeah.
Do you know, sort of way. So I started that. Jeez, I don't know how long ago now. And so I always did like art. Like, I always appreciated it. And when I was a bit younger, I used to like to sketch and stuff, and art in primary school and stuff I liked. Never done it in secondary school. Kind of something that I did regret, because I always enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But so I came along and I just said, look, fuck it, I'll try it, you know.
Nice.
And so done a few little paintings. But I'm literally still learning about it. Just how many different forms of art, like, and just trying to just get into it and see what I like and all that. So trying that out. And don't know if you've seen, I asked you earlier about, did you watch Sex Education on Netflix?
No, we haven't. Did you see them?
A couple of episodes, yeah.
There's a fellow that was doing it on that. He's spinal injury. He's on that as well. Because we were watching the that's mad, you know. So it's popular enough in the spinal injury world, I suppose, yeah. But the higher levels of injuries, like like that lad, he has arm function, but he has no hand function.
Okay.
Right.
So he can move his bicep intervention. So he can lift his arms and move them around. And actually grip something.
Right, yeah.
So he's using the mouse stick as well. So doing that, and that's one of the only things that I've really discovered so far. Yeah, so
sounds cool though. Even you were showing us with your phone, the way you have all the voice activation thing. That, like,
that's crazy. Yeah.
Like, there's never a good time to have this kind of injury, but at least with the way technology is moving and stuff, you have a lot more independence than you would have.
Exactly, yeah. Someone said that as well. Another lad that we seen on Instagram, he has spinal injury as well, and he's saying, like, it's the best time to have a spinal injury. Now is the best time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as the years go on,
it's getting better.
You know. So.
Yeah. Man, I know the first question we had was, how will you deal with setbacks? And your answer was, obviously it's hard to say based on the setback, but even that story of getting off the ventilator and dealing with that setback, like, there's just so much wisdom and lessons in that alone of, like, you accept the situation without accepting, like, this is where I have to stay, you know, bringing that stubbornness to it and being like, right, fair enough, that's where I'm at now, but doesn't mean I'm going to stay here forever. And then I'm going to take ownership and responsibility for, like, doing the work. You know, you had to call out the nurse on bringing the bag back into you so you could keep testing yourself and keep going at it. If you had left it in their hands, you'd probably be on a ventilator now today.
Yeah, she wouldn't have. They wouldn't have had any other reason to go back.
Yeah.
You know, and it was got to the stage where as well, where they were kind of, you know, they test what they need to test.
Yeah.
They didn't expect it because of the level of injury. They're going, right, well, this is, you know, you're not meant to make more progress. So that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think they just given up. And
Literally.
And you know, you can't blame that physio, and I don't blame anyone really. But at the end of the day, they're not the ones that are stuck on the ventilator.
Yeah.
So it's all well and good for them to say, look, that box is ticked now, he's off it, or sorry, he's still on it, and that's it. You know, but I didn't want to give up, and there was no way I was just letting it slip out of that on my hand that easy.
Yeah, all respect, man. Respect.
I feel like such a pussy for everything I've ever put on in my life now.
It's something so important. It's not like, you know, it's like going to the gym and getting bigger biceps.
Yeah.
That's not going to make that big of a difference to you.
True. Yeah.
You know, this is our whole life's dependent on this. You know, kind of it's.
Yeah. Put it like that,
Yeah. It's definitely a deep meaning behind it. Yeah.
And I had time as well.
A few spare hours in the day already.
You have to think about it. You're sitting there thinking.
Oh man.
And I'm like, I was saying to myself, I used to say to myself in my head, if I see one little glimmer of light, I'm gonna make headlights.
Going for it.
Yeah. That's off of one little twinkle of light. I'm gonna make sure that this is like a fucking a headlight.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like the Pope here, but that's a fucking miracle, man.
Yeah. Some people say that as well. I don't believe in miracles, though. Yeah.
Let me have this one, please.
I believe in hard work. I don't believe in any of that. Yeah. That's what I said. It was an opportunity, and I said to myself, kept saying to myself in my head, give me an inch, and I'm gonna take 1,000 miles, not 1 mile, 1,000. Yeah, because one's not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because look, just had to be done. In my head, that was it. It had to be done.
Sick.
How long were you in the rehab place for before you were allowed to start to come out and go back home for a little bit of time or whatever else?
Yeah, sorry. So I was in today I'm still in the rehab, yeah.
Oh yeah, so you're still doing Monday, Friday.
I was in the matter for 4 months, and then now I've been in the rehab since the February 22.
Okay,
22.
all right.
Do you have your own room in there?
Sorry?
Do you get your own room in there?
Yeah, I have my own room. Yeah.
What's the food like?
It's actually not bad.
Yeah?
Yeah. For hospital food.
Yeah. That's two most important things covered.
Yeah. I've been in what? I was in Tal Hospital for a while there, years ago, for a week. Bad food. Very bad food. Yeah. The matter, not much better.
No,
right.
And the rehab was fairly good.
Right, so if you want a nice day with some good food, go to the rehab.
I'm sure there's better places.
No stories in the rehab. So if you're out there unless you're working there. Do you know what? I'd have to say, it is a great place out there. It's not where you want to be, but it's a good place to be. For me, it's the best place it could be. Yeah, so
true. What's a day in the life out there look like?
Yeah.
Wake up at 12 o'clock.
Do they wake you up or do you?
Nah, yeah. Normally, it just depends on how the day goes. And
right. Yeah. There's nothing too strict. I say.
I've scheduled that was a lot busier at the start. Now I'm on a thing called maintenance.
Yeah.
So really, look, I'm there well over my stay. So I've well overdone the stay now at this stage. So it's kind of they have to prioritize the new people coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a day now, the only therapy I'm really doing is physio. I do that twice a week. Originally it was 3, now it's twice.
What would the physio look like? What kind of stuff would they be getting you to do or doing?
Yeah, so I've passive movement, so
right,
they're just your general stretching.
So they'd be doing it.
Stop the body from locking up to keep the range of movement in my limbs.
Yeah.
Oh, so the physio would be physically moving your arms up and down and stuff like that?
Yeah, passive movement, yeah. So although I can't move, it's really important for me to stay loose.
Yeah.
Because even sitting in this chair is a stretch. I need to be able to lie flat and about as well.
Yeah.
You know, all these different things. There's loads of different reasons why. And it's kind of... So I get spasms as well. I told you about that.
Yeah.
Spasm is like an involuntary movement. So my body might move by itself for whatever reason. Like a reaction to something, if it's uncomfortable or sore or anything like that.
Right, yeah.
Or let's say I go over a bump in a van or something, I might spasm or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
as a reaction. So if regular passives helps with that.
Mm-hmm.
It helps to kind of maintain them and keep them down as
So that was a good bit.
as low as possible. Yeah. So that's a really important one. Then I've a motor med. It's kind of like it's pretty much like a bike that it's like a cycling bike, like something you'd see in the gym. But obviously I can't sit on it, so my legs will clip into it.
Right.
There's a part from my hand slip onto it as well. So that'll cycle for me. So they just give me that range of movement.
Yeah.
It's good for the joints and the limbs.
Deadly.
And for the muscle tone as well. And then the last thing is a tilt table, it's called. So it's pretty much like a skinny version of a massage bed, like a physio massage bed. But like you lie onto that, I have a it's like a chest strap, hips and knees, and that'll stand me up so I can go into literally full standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good for loads of different things, all different parts.
Blood flow and everything else.
Blood flow, bones, entities, loads of different things. Yeah.
Deadly.
So yeah, that's another really important one, and blood pressure is a big one. So with spinal injury, your blood pressure gets really, really messed with. So if you pick me up now, stand me straight up, I'll more than likely blood pressure will just fall down, and I'll probably faint.
Right.
More than likely. So yeah, the blood pressure is a big issue. So when I had the injury straight away, right, getting from the bed to the chair, that was like climbing a mountain. Yeah. So they have to build you up to get you. Kind of that little task for you is nothing.
Yeah.
That's like they don't even think about it. But for me, that was like at the start, that was like this crazy journey to be able to get into the
Sure.
chair. And for now, it's handy, and it's I suppose over time it's just something that you just become more accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
So doing the likes of standing up and being on that tilt table makes sitting in the chair that little bit easier every time you do it, you know?
Yeah.
And initially when you're on the tilt table, it's a degree thing, so you work up to 90 degrees, you might only get to 30 or 40. And now, like, standing up to 90 now, it's handy enough, like, and
Deadly.
I'll at least always get to 70. Between 70 and 90, there's not that much of a difference anyway.
Yeah.
But to get up to the higher numbers, it's really important. Like, it's crucial. Like, so my body fights to keep my blood pressure up then.
Yeah.
That then, in turn, will make it a lot easier for it just to be sitting in the chair like this.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, it makes sense.
it's a very important one.
Yeah.
It's very comprehensive, yeah. A lot goes into it. You wouldn't even think of.
No, fucking hell.
Oh yeah, telling you the side effects of the injury is like so much more than
Oh,
not
man.
being able to move.
Yeah.
Not being able to move the base bar. See, that's the simple part.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many complications out here.
Like, I didn't even think you were mentioning the other. Even when we met up to chat, like simple things like trying to stay on top of your weight, try to manage your health as best you can, like your respiratory system and cardiovascular system, like all these things to the best of your ability. Like there's so many.
Yeah, how do you stay fit when you can't move?
Yeah.
It's that simple, do you know? That's the hard part, yeah.
Fucking
It's
hell.
all this, all these little ins and outs that are really, really complicated.
Yeah.
It's a long list of things that are just very, very complicated. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Seems like you're in a good place anyways up in the rehab where they're staying on top of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, look, they educate you that you can be as like kind of. There's a program called Own Your Own Care. They run out there,
Right.
so it's that you can be your own advocate.
Sweet, yeah.
So, let's say when I go home eventually, when all that's sorted and all the care plan and all that's sorted, I can get home. Then I could have a carer coming in, say today. Could have another lad coming in tomorrow. Could have a woman in on Wednesday. Another one in the day after.
Yeah.
And like it just depends, right? So you could have 2 people in per day, and you could have different people in every day of the
So
week.
yeah, like 14 odd
So
people a week.
I need
Yeah.
to know, and I need to be able to tell you what to do for me.
Yes.
Like if I'm
Yeah.
just someone just
Sitting
lying
there
in the
letting
bed,
them
sitting in the chair, something goes wrong or whatever, I need to be able to
lead it,
step
direct them.
away
Yeah.
and guide them to do the things for me. So they want you to have your carers that you're guiding them. Not
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So, and as well, it's nice to be able to. It makes you feel like, you know, that person is helping you, not taking over your life.
Yeah,
You know,
you
so-
still have some control over some
Exactly,
independence. Yeah.
So you want them to be really helping you, and they can kind of, rather than just doing your life, rather than
Yes.
you know,
Just being
you know,
passive. Yeah.
doing, yeah, exactly. It's passive. That's what it would be. Yeah. So you have some control of your life as much as you can.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sweet.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know yourself and Saoirse have a place, so you're obviously in the process of trying to move into there. Do you know how long away or how far away you are from?
So our house is ready, right? And really, it's just it's a governance and a funding thing that has to be handed over to the care plan to get me home.
Right.
Yeah, so my care plan was a little bit complicated. That normally I have a public health nurse that would be incorporated into my plan, and so you get an agency, right?
Yep.
And they have carers and they have nurses, and normally you wouldn't need the nurses to come from the care plan. They come from the public health nurse side. And my area, the public health nurse, is really, really overpopulated. So there's a need for like 8 nurses in the area, and they've only 2.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they're really just outnumbered, isn't it?
Yeah.
So my agency said, look, we have nurses, so they can jump in with your carers and they can give you a hand, no bother, but just with the governance and the funding, it's all just
Up in the air. Yeah.
and they're waiting for the HSC and all to sort that all out.
Fuck's
So
sake.
it's literally like my care plan are like, we have everything you need, so we can do it. And then it's the HSC side of thing has been like,
Dragging our feet. Yeah.
Do you have any idea when you should hear back from them, or like a rough? No.
Just
Just
whenever.
waiting, Yeah.
I've been ready to leave the rehab now since start of the year, February.
Serious, yeah.
Yeah. So
Nearly going on a year now. Yeah.
yeah, it's mad, just mental.
If there's anyone from the HSE watching,
Yeah. Please do
Sort this
something.
out.
Do something.
get on, home. Fuck's sake.
Get the finger out, lads.
Yeah. He's a stubborn man. You don't want him coming up against you. That's all the questions that I had.
I was trying to think if I got any more. I feel like I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah,
and
man.
still
There's
have
so many more
lots of
places I
yeah.
could go. I don't want to
do
keep you here all night.
There's that many things that it's like, you said to me at the start of this, that it's kind of, it is one of those things where you have a million things to say.
I just scratch the surface. Yeah,
You
yeah.
could sit here till the end of the year.
Yeah, I can't afford that now.
Yeah, the early rate is.
But actually, I did want to ask, because you were saying about potentially wanting to set up your own podcast and something along those lines. What would be the goal with that, and what sort of stuff would you like to share and talk about on the podcast?
Yeah, I haven't really fully thought about it. Just, I suppose one of the best things we can do now is speaking. I would love to be able to kind of use the experience to motivate new people, and not so much new people to the injured, but just people in general.
Yeah, I think your message goes way beyond just.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think anyone could get a lot from just seeing what you've been through and how you
Yeah,
deal
to
with it.
let people, to make sure people are appreciating what they have, because I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
I did. I was definitely like really, really grateful for what I did have, but you don't appreciate it enough.
Yeah.
Until it's taken away from you. It's the same with everything, you don't realise, you don't miss it till it's gone.
Yep.
So that is that's something that I would like to be able to do, and I don't know if it'll be a motivational speaker or something. That could be an alley that I might look at down in the future.
Definitely could. You need a quote though. Every motivational speaker has like the one quote.
Yeah,
Do you have a quote? Are you still working on it?
You'll figure it out.
Let us
Figure
know
it
soon
out.
as we'll post it everywhere.
yeah. Because there's so much to say, but then it's like I need to figure out and learn how to say it.
It's a
Yeah.
learning process as well though.
Oh, big time, man.
I'm sure you have learned already. What's this, episode 9? I was
9, yeah.
And I'm sure you've learned loads already.
Yeah, and then you look back at all the ones like, oh, why did I should have asked this
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
I could
yeah.
have asked it that way.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a million things I missed already. Like if I'm just trying to think about anything that I've kind of missed out of the tallies. I don't know. Like,
Oh, man.
It's really comprehensive.
Yeah, like
anyway.
you've covered so much so well as well, like the way you've articulated it and put it together and kept it easy for us
you forget about
two
the
to
cameras after a
understand.
while,
Yeah. Like explaining the spinal cord and how all these things play out and how that's impacted you and like the different variations and all. It's madness to see like how intricate all these little things are, and like the fact that someone would hear an injury like you mentioned, like I've no function from the shoulders down, and like your mind automatically thinks, oh, so you can't walk, you can't move, but like how deeper it goes than that. It's not just about those things, it's like all the other little bits that you probably just overlook. And I think the message you've shared there of like just fucking appreciate what you do have, because it could be gone in an instant.
Yeah, and even for me, like I have to So what you're saying there about like the different levels of age, just and it's the severities and stuff. It's all just like it's so complex, and it's the idea of you or to injure me an inch higher or an inch lower on the spinal cord, that would change everything. Like.
Yeah.
If I was an inch higher, I'd be definitely ventilated.
Yeah.
So moving the shoulders is not a big deal, but every extra bit of movement you have makes a massive difference. Like, and if I was to say a C2 injury, the neck movement definitely wouldn't be as good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make a big difference for general looking around.
Yeah.
You know, your viewpoint in general. But then if I was another level down, I'd more than likely have bicep function. So I'm now, so I didn't mention that to you, that most people, so I've damaged C3, but I've movement down to C4. So most people gain another level, just generally speaking. So if I then damage C4, more than likely I would have regained C5.
Okay.
It's not guaranteed, but more than likely.
Yeah.
And that C5 is your bicep innervation. So biceps would lead me to be able to use my hands. So push me on a chair, feed yourself, stuff like that. All the just basic scratch your head, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Just a little bit extra. It will give you a lot more independence.
Yeah.
You know, and the likes of that might even be able to say do things like a transfer onto a chair, like the likes of you were sitting on now.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It makes things. It opens up doors, like, you know?
Yeah.
So an inch up or an inch down can make a massive difference with regards to, you know.
Yeah. Quality of life overall. Yeah,
exactly like that. Your life and your.
That's your quote, isn't it? Something about inches.
Yeah.
Life's a game of inches after all, isn't it?
Al Pacino has that one.
Things, yeah. We can read one. But there's one thing I wanted to ask you, just to make clear to everybody listening, because when I told my nanny you were coming on, and I explained about I was doing the mountain biking or whatever, and there was an injury, she thought like you were now promoting this, like, don't do these dangerous activities sort of stuff, don't put yourself out there, and that's kind of the opposite of your approach to life, isn't it?
If you came to the rehab, there's about 40 spinal injuries patients on our ward. On our floor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you went to every one of them, you'd be afraid sitting there in that chair there today.
Yeah.
There's some stories I've heard and I'm going, holy shit. Like, that is like, that's crazy. Like.
Yeah, something like that could cause that injury. Yeah.
And I was talking to you before, I've heard about injuries that, like, people's parachute didn't deploy.
Yeah.
And they fall from whatever thousand feet. Like, I've heard a story on TikTok recently about a woman from America that happened to, and they're going, that's scary.
Yeah.
And then I've heard, like, recently I was talking to a lad in there, and he fell off 3 steps, and he's the same injury as me. 3 steps. So you're going, that's crazy. that is absolutely, like, you'd be afraid to do anything. You'd be walking around bubble wrap with a hand.
Yeah.
Do you know? So, like, you just can't live in fear.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, if I got to reset tomorrow, I wouldn't be living in fear. Not a hope.
You do it all again.
Yeah. Probably would, because like, the probability of it is so small.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be over worried. Like, there's risk and reward and everything, you know. But yeah, like, if you go through it, and I've heard some stories of some people, some lads thought, another lad that was talking to, he fainted and ended up with a similar injury as well. I'm sure anyone can faint.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, true. Any moment for any reason, isn't it?
Exactly.
Man.
And so you do hear stories there kind of going, well, look, that was more of a probable outcome than
than others, but
and
for the most part.
Yeah, and it's literally just look at the jaw, and, you know, and you could have, and I could have been so much worse if I had a brain injury. That could have been a total different ballgame. Wouldn't be sitting there talking to you. So. Well, it depends on the severity of the injury, but there's no brain injuries in life.
They're all
to be in,
love it, man.
Yeah.
Don't live in fear. What a message. We'll do the closing tradition. We'll let this man get home and get out here. Do you want to?
Yeah, of course. So we opened up with you answering the question from Jake from the last episode. Now you have to ask a question that we'll ask the guest at the start of the next episode. So your old coach, Mr. Patrick Houlihan, what question do you want to leave the hooligan?
Maybe what influence would you like to have on someone else?
Nice. What influence would you like to have on someone else?
Yeah, I like that. I was saying, like, how do you want to be remembered? What's the kind of legacy almost you want to leave? What influence?
You should have a good answer for that.
You better.
Yeah.
You've done enough anyway, so.
Quality. Oh, man. I mean, part of me wants to stand up and give you a clap. The other part wants to just go out and fucking go for a run or something. There's so much that I want to do, but
Sure, I have a lot more than you said. Maybe do a round 2 and
100%.
You had a good time?
try it out, Jeff.
You're a natural, man. You're a natural. You killed it. But honestly, man, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing, for opening up, for being a real pillar of strength and a shining light, for going after life and not just, you know, taking a backseat and being passive, but whatever situation you're in, just taking ownership of it and going after and trying to make the best out of it you can, man. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I don't know what else to say, but I love you on. You're a gem. It's a miracle, and it was great to have you.
Thanks a lot, boys.